Dear viewers, you are following another weekly report of the most important news from the world of digital assets. Welcome to Cryptoverse News. We have had an exciting few days, during which Bitcoin reached another price record on Monday, ahead of Donald Trump's presidential inauguration, this time above $109,000. And although many expected a market correction, the speedy start to the week was most certainly a reaction to Trump's new arrival in the White House. An additional strength to the bullish sentiment was brought by the launch of Trump meme tokens over the weekend, Donald's on Saturday and Melania's on Sunday. And today, among other things, we bring you Bitcoin is consolidating after a new all-time high. The market is waiting for new moves by Donald Trump and the decision on interest rates in the U.S. next Wednesday. After the inaugural speech ignored any mention of digital assets, the U.S. president started with pro-crypto decisions. Will there really be strategic BTC reserves in the United States? The Donald and Melania memes pushed Sol to a new all-time high. So, let's start the report. And so, Donald Trump, after a series of his NFTs, then his family DeFi project, World Liberty Financial, decided last weekend to raise another few $1 billion by launching his own meme token. Official Trump grew rapidly and jumped into the top 15 cryptocurrencies, to a market capitalization of about $15 billion at its peak. Melania's token had entered the top 100 cryptocurrencies and also brought significant gains to the family. And now, when the weekend had successfully passed, especially for the Trumps, the crypto community was waiting and hoping for the signing of pro-crypto executive orders on the first day of Trump's term. But that move failed, causing price pullbacks in the market. Considering that Donald Trump did not mention crypto even once during his inauguration, nor did he sign any executive order related to digital assets, disappointment followed. And this disappointment pushed Bitcoin towards low levels of 100K. However, the promises have slowly begun to come true. First, the new president pardoned Ross Ulbricht, the founder of Silk Road, an online marketplace on the dark web where Bitcoin could be used to buy practically anything, including drugs and child pornography. On Thursday, Trump addressed the World Economic Forum in Davos, breaking his silence on digital assets and reaffirming his administration's commitment to making the U.S. the crypto capital of the world. The U.S. president also called for an immediate reduction in interest rates, which should benefit the broader crypto market. We will see already next week how Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell will respond to his calls and what the decision on interest rates in the U.S. will be. And with that address and breaking his silence on cryptocurrencies, Trump finally signed an executive order for crypto, and it's really not an insignificant one. In addition to prohibiting the creation of a central bank digital currency, a CBDC, it also establishes the so-called Presidential Task Force on Digital Asset Markets, which will work to develop a federal regulatory framework for digital assets, including stablecoins, and to assess the possibility of creating a strategic national reserve of digital assets. This last word is very important because it signals that the reserve, if it comes true, may not consist solely of Bitcoin, but could also include cryptocurrencies whose issuers are based in the United States. The said working group will be chaired by the so-called crypto and AI czar of the White House, David Sachs, and will also include the Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent. By the way, Sachs told Fox Business that he thinks the Trump token is a collector's item, something like a baseball card or a stamp. It's a rather peculiar interpretation of the meme token that could have significant implications for the entire crypto category in the future, and that of course benefits Donald Trump and prevents prosecution by regulators. Back to the appointments. Senator Cynthia Lummis will lead the Senate Subcommittee on Digital Assets. Let's remind you, Lummis is the author of the bill that envisions the establishment of national reserves of Bitcoins and the purchase of 1 million pieces in 5 years. Her role, as the new chair, will include negotiating bipartisan agreements on such issues while working closely with regulatory agencies and the private sector. And finally, as far as this week's pro-crypto decisions are concerned, it is also important to mention that the so-called SAB 121 provision which was passed by the previous SEC officials and required banks to hold cryptocurrencies on behalf of clients to record those assets as liabilities on their balance sheets, leading banks to avoid offering cryptocurrency custody services, was repealed. Indeed, the market seemed utterly lost for most of the week and was searching for direction. Some signs were sought that the new president had not forgotten about digital assets. When those signals finally arrived, cryptocurrencies recorded a slight recovery. Bitcoin was trading between $105,000 and $106,000 at the time of recording, just 3 to 4% off its all-time high. It wouldn't be surprising if the sideways movement continues until the Fed's interest rate decision next Wednesday and a speech by the head of the Federal Reserve, who might have something to say about Trump's calls for rate cuts. But BTC's fundamentals remain strong, and investor interest, not just in Bitcoin, is high. Last week, a whopping $2.2 billion in inflows into exchange-traded crypto products were recorded. This is the largest weekly amount since the beginning of the year. Of course, corporations are also buying, led by Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy, which added BTC to its treasury for 11 consecutive weeks. As for U.S. spot BTC ETFs, they removed around $1.2 billion worth of Bitcoin from the market in 3 trading days, from Tuesday to Thursday. In the context of ETFs, it should also be said that analysts expect a flood of applications for new products, mostly those related to altcoins and even meme tokens. This week, among others, the SEC received applications for ETF Doge, Bonk, and even the Trump meme. The new setup of the SEC, which should be headed by Paul Atkins, with the approval of these ETFs, could lead to a new mini-revolution in the crypto world, and it seems that retail is also returning. Retail investors, who have been completely overshadowed by institutional capital in this cycle, are again showing greater interest on social networks and internet search engines, where the number of Bitcoin mentions is increasing. It is also indicative that crypto applications occupied the first 3 places in downloads in the financial category on the App Store in the US. So, we are currently at a point in time that could be the beginning of the final phase of the bull run, especially now that Donald Trump's inauguration has been done with. Of course, if that is the case, it does not mean that growth will follow exclusively. There will also be consolidations and corrections. In the short term, according to 10x Research founder Marcus Thielen, Bitcoin could rise 15% from its current price within a few days, but then it could enter a phase of sideways trading. Thielen adds that BTC has a pattern of jumping in 16 to 18K moves since the approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs a year ago, signaling that it could reach 122K by next month before entering a second phase of consolidation. In the medium term, according to, some would say, the most powerful man in the world finance, Larry Fink, head of BlackRock, Bitcoin could go up to $700,000, fueled by fears of destabilization of global currencies, led by the dollar, and economic instability. Donald Trump's failure to mention crypto in his inaugural address, along with Bitcoin's decline, has also caused an altcoin crash, with more than $816 million in long liquidations. Top alts were falling by double-digit percentages before recovering on Thursday and Friday. However, on a weekly basis, most markets are still in the red. And while many are criticizing the smart contract king's performance, its blockchain's performance, and consequently Ether's price action, Ethereum has maintained its position as the network with the highest revenue in 2024, according to the latest data from CoinGecko, collecting $2.48 billion in fees. This is almost triple the amount compared to its main competitor, Solana, and a 3% increase in revenue compared to the previous year. And this despite, let's not forget, the Dencun upgrade, which reduced transaction fees for Ethereum's Layer 2 networks, making them more attractive and thereby directing users away from the main blockchain towards these cheaper solutions. Therefore, there should be no doubt that the time will come for the price explosion of Ether. In fact, bullish speculation is on the rise, and one of the main buyers this week was World Liberty Financial, the Trump family's DeFi project that spent tens of millions of dollars on Ether, and Eric Trump has announced further purchases. Ether is currently changing hands at $3,376 with a weekly loss of 1%. Meanwhile, XRP fell 3% to $3.15 in anticipation of the potential approval of its ETF. Solana was once again the hit of the week in terms of the biggest players, growing by as much as 20% on the wings of Donald and Melania, who chose this very blockchain to launch their memes. Thanks to them and the craze for these tokens that followed and raised the average transaction fee by 170%, Sol reached its new all-time high of $293 on Sunday, and this is certainly not the last price record of this cycle. Currently, Sol is trading at $262. Doge is down 13% to 36 cents, but time is working in favor of Elon Musk's favorite crypto. With filings for Doge ETFs of Bitwise among others, the leading meme with Musk's all-out push could and should grow even stronger. The top 10 is closed by Cardano, whose ADA is down 1.5% and is holding around $1. As for the main weekly winners in the top 100, Solana's DEX token, Radium, leads the list. Next comes Marinade staked Sol and Binance staked Sol. Then there is Sol itself, and the fifth best performer is Ondo. The biggest losers are Sonic, Pudgy Penguins, Virtual Protocol, WIF, and Movement. And so, with altcoins, we have come to the end of another Cryptoverse weekly report. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like, leave a comment, and we would also greatly appreciate if you click subscribe. Thank you for following, and kind regards.